But one thing I can say about that community is that when they come to America, they come with a plan. So it's already instilled in them. When we came to America, it was on something totally different. Stripped down, working, all right. But now, you know, we are such a strong people. We've been through a lot. We go through a lot on a daily basis. But at the same time, some of us are not able to see outside of our current situation. And that's what I know and understand when I'm walking in that classroom and I'm teaching my kids. So it means so much more to me than just, oh my God, you're a real estate investor and you bought the block. Yeah, but I need somebody else to do this too.
Right.
Right? Like my kids, I see over 180 kids per day before Corona, you know, when we was actually in the classroom. So to be able to build those relationships and those kids know that they can call me, they can text me, they can walk down the street or walk around a corner and know that they can knock on this door.
Now, when you're saying kids, what ages we talking about here? What ages
My
are
students
you educating?
Yep, they're high school, 9 through 12.
Okay.
9 through 12.
All right.
So that's the piece, right? And you have to want it. Like when so many people are like, oh my God, you know, I want to do this, I want to do that, but they are afraid. That's what the fear will keep you exactly where you are. And you'll never be able to achieve whatever goal you set for yourself because you're afraid. And little do we know, we as a people, even the world in general, follow trends. We follow trends that we see online, trends that we see, oh my God, my favorite artist, he rocks all these gold chains. I want to do the same thing, you know? And so it's something else called like the shiny mentality. Like people love shiny things, shiny cars, shiny bracelets, you know, jewelry, all of those things. For me, another one of my quotes is wealth whispers, poverty screams. I always told my students, like, I can tell the person in a room when I walk in because it depends on what they have on.
Right. And a lot of those shiny things that we're only drawn to it because we've seen growing up, I've seen that the people who have this big house, this nice car, this financial stability, they got shiny things. So I want shiny things too. Like me, I was a music video kid. Every day I watched music videos. I was on BET. I watched TV all day. Like that's what I saw. So growing up, like that was I was a completely different kid in high school. I had the big chains, the G unit, spinning rims, all that. So yeah, we definitely got to change. We have to change the imagery of what they're getting. We have to change the even in like TVs and movie shows. Like I think the first time I ever heard this conversation of the rebranding of rebranding the way you look at your hood was in Soul Food, movie Soul Food. I don't know if you ever saw it, but where the grandma, everybody was debating on whether to sell the grandma's house. Grandma had that house for generations. Like that is their family's house. That is their property. And because of financial ties, and mind you, grandma did what she had. She worked all her life. She fed like four children. Her children are all grown. They got careers and spouses. There's no excuse as to why they couldn't have kept that house in the family. But because everybody was like, this house ain't my problem anymore, we gotta get rid of it because we're all moving on to better, bigger things. Luckily, there was someone in that movie who was like, this isn't our family. If we get rid of this, like, what's next to go in our family? Like we have to keep things to pass down to the next generation, because even like what you're doing, like you said, it doesn't matter if like generational wealth doesn't work without education, and it doesn't work without mentorship, and it doesn't work without creating role models in our community for these particular topics. So backtracking. You should if you're interested in getting into buying up property, you should save up about $10,000. Once you save up this $10,000, you should then go online, look into some auction sites. Do you have any auction sites that you suggest? Any WW dots?
So they would have to take my class for that. So
Okay.
that
Oh,
those,
I got you.
yeah, that I
Yeah.
won't disclose, but
Okay.
definitely there's several auction sites out there. However, I only use one.
Okay. How could, if someone did want to take one of your classes, which I highly recommend that they should, I definitely will. How would they go about doing that?
Absolutely. So on both of my Instagrams, either at COCOA517 or
Mm-hmm.
RCO Property Group, there's a link tree.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you click on that link tree link, it's going to say real estate services. That's going to be the top button that you can select that, and all of the services that I provide will definitely be right there. If
Mm-hmm.
straight jump into the auction, you can do auction training. If you want to figure out, like, say if you're like, okay, I don't know what to do, I have an LLC, or maybe I don't have an LLC, what I do, I don't know, whatever, I definitely encourage anybody to purchase the foundation series. It's a total of 5 courses. My last course, which is purchase an investment property, is this Sunday at
Right.
7 p.m. via Zoom. But all of the rest of them, and even this one, they'll all be recorded. So even if that time or that date has passed, you can either
Right.
purchase one, or you can purchase, the entire package.
Okay. And how would and just to say to anybody listening right now, a lot of people are like, oh damn, I gotta pay. I highly encourage people to rethink the way that they look at paying for education. Some of those valuable knowledge in this world is not for free, especially when
Right.
it comes to financial information. A lot of people think they can just learn this stuff by just searching in day in and day out
Right.
online, but then they end up finding a bunch of information that's spamish,
Yeah.
false, misleading. They're using words you don't understand.
Hmm.
Like you said before, especially if you're someone that has a similar background to people like Coco and myself, you should highly recommend looking into investing in getting knowledge like this, because it's an investment in yourself. So
Absolutely.
I'm gonna definitely make sure I put that up in the link. So when someone goes onto the auction site, right, they see a property that they like, how would someone know? Because I see properties all the time. I have money saved up. I see properties in my neighborhood all the time that I'm looking to invest into. I know people who have that have dreams of having vegan restaurants. I know people that have dreams of open up coffee shops. People that have dreams of opening up schools. How do you know when a property is a good investment? Like, what are
Hood.
those things to look out for?
Yep. I always look at the neighborhood. I always look at the and the comps in the neighborhood. So a lot of people hear comps and they're like, what is that? Comparable properties. So the properties that's in the neighborhood, and what are those going for 10,000 in the same neighborhood where you got to have a property for 100,000 or even 80,000 or even 50,000. What
Mm,
did they do in that particular property? So you need to look at that, and you find all this stuff online. They have Google Live where you can actually see what's going on the street live right now.
mm-hmm.
Technology out there that we can use and reference. And so it's all about doing your research. The other thing, trying to make. So when it comes down to real estate, if it don't make money, it don't make sense. It's all about the numbers. Like, I don't want to invest in the hood.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the houses here are 100 or 10 or literally 10,000 and less, and you got one house that's $50,000 or one house that's $60,000. How am I going to see my return? So in that, when you have a market that's like that or similar to that, that means you have to make the comps, right? So you purchase the one property or how many ever you purchase, and boom, you do your house. Now your house might be worth 100,000. So you are making the neighborhood go up in value.
Mm-hmm.
Another house, you do the same thing. 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 Or you can just buy one, get with your friends, have your friend buy one, have somebody else buy this one, have somebody else buy that one, and now y'all are building up a whole neighborhood and or community together.
What are the responsibilities after you bought one? Like, if I, like, for example, you live in Philly but you got property in Baltimore, what are your responsibilities as a property owner?
Yep. So my responsibility, it depends on, in the event, say if your property, like one of my properties is on a corner. And so my yard, I have a yard, and the yard is not fenced off. So anybody can dump on that property and have
Mm-hmm.
right? So if I don't have a fence and they're not dumping within the fence, now it's a lien on my property for what? $305 because the city, somebody reported this or whatever, or the city is just doing their job, driving through the city, trying to make sure that it looks, good. And this property that's on the corner is sticking out, because you have all this trash on this property. So you have to make sure that that property is cleaned and maintained. Or you go ahead and get the fence and you deal with the trash when you're able to deal with the trash. Because once you have a fence that is in your fence, it's nothing that they can say. It's nothing that they can do. So you just got to figure out ways in which to, maximize and figure out how, because I don't have tenants in that, property.
So would you have to hire for someone that has property in locations that are too far from them to
Property
keep it?
manager.
Okay, so you hire someone. Okay.
Property manager or your contractor. Your contractor, depending on if you're doing work actively or not, should be going there it just depends on however y'all communicate, or whatever time frame you guys are on. But your contractor can go there every day if you want them to. Your contractor can go there once a month, couple times a week, it just depends on the situation. But I would definitely say, if you are not in the same city as your property, because sometimes like I can get to Jersey from my house faster than I can get to certain parts of Philadelphia. So it depends. But I'm definitely not taking an hour and 45 minute drive every day to check on my own property. I'm not doing it.
Right. Okay. All right.
Or cameras, if you want, technology, we have that. Like when I was in Africa, even Europe, I was able to talk to whoever was in my house or whoever was in packages. So, it just depends.
What would you say is, so what is your future vision with the properties that you're acquiring, Philly, Baltimore? What's your what would you like to see happen in those areas?
So my initial goal was, yes, I wanted to buy the block. Like, I want to buy me a whole block. Cool. Done. Got that, right? But
done. Just
done.
Nothing.
Ain't nothing. I did it. But now it's time to build that up, right? So I have a plan. It's time to actually make that community. But the other thing is, when I bought my single properties, that's actually houses, I was buying in particular areas. And when I say particular areas, yes, I'm buying in the hood, but as we know, all HBCUs are in the hood. So my whole thing is to rent to college students.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my whole game plan. Rent to college students. And some things that some people don't know is that in specific areas, there's a cap. And when I say there's a cap, so if I rent out one of my properties as a single family home, I can only get $1,200 for it. And is there very stipulations that you can, go over that $1,200 given the area. But if I rent it out as rooms, and I'm renting the rooms at $400 or $600 or $700 per room, and I got 3 rooms, I just went over that cap. Because it's through rooms. Then I can change my LLC, or I can just straight create a nonprofit, and the state is paying me to provide housing for college students. That helps them. When I got to Clark, I worked 2 jobs and I was an RA. I didn't have any help from my family. I had 8 scholarships, yes, but I didn't have help from my family. It wasn't like, oh, you got this, let me send you this money, let me send you that money. It was also, I had mentors, literally educators, mentors that I met in high school sent me money every month for 4 years in undergrad. And was going on. They didn't know I was working. I told them I was working, all that good stuff, but they didn't know anything that was going on in regards to what was going on in my family, that I had to even sustain and be, at Clark for the 4 years.
Right.
So you think about things that's going to change and help people. Like, it's not about, what I do is not about me.
I see you do a lot of traveling as well.
Yes.
What are your thoughts on buying up property internationally? Like, have you ever in all your travels, have you ever looked at something overseas and was like, I'm gonna get that?
Yep. So this was before I got into, investing the way I am now. I didn't
Hmm.
think about that. I was just like, "Ooh, it'll be fun." I went to Egypt and my friend mine was like, "Maybe I'll buy a flat here and we just come back every so often or whatever, and just be chilling in Egypt." And I was like, "Yeah, that's dope. That's crazy." And they were only $5,000. Like now,
Right, right, because
man,
the value of the value in many countries in Africa are the value of their properties are way cheaper than it is over
absolutely.
here, right?
So like 5,000, you live in a good life. So that's the other thing. And I actually had a phone call some guy. I have to go back in my notes, my Excel sheets, and reach back property in Nigeria. His family is from Nigeria. He
Mm.
lives in actually either Connecticut or Massachusetts, one of them. Not
Okay.
sure. Yeah, they have property in Nigeria. And I also have a friend who is doing business in Ghana. And all the great things that I heard, I'm like, wow, like this is dope. This is amazing. And somebody else, we went to Clark with Justin. I don't know if you remember him. His name is Justin too, but his family is from Nigeria as well. And the rules, of course, is different. It's actually better in Africa when it comes down to you buying and building and
Do you
doing
need to
all of
be a citizen to partake?
so not that I know of, because there are definitely investors who are from America, don't have dual citizenship, and they are purchasing there.
Mm,
Yeah.
mm. That
So
sounds like that sounds like
assume,
an untapped market right there.
listen, no, for real. And that's the other thing. Like America runs off credit.
Hmm.
Credit score and all that don't matter in Africa. That's not a thing. It's just not. So once I become educated enough, or I'm a risk taker. Like I literally just learned trading options on the stock market 2 days ago, and I'm making some good money right now, over $1,000 within 2 days. Like I'm like, oh my god, this is crazy. Right.
Right.
So that's the thing. Like I'm a risk taker. You got to spend money to make money, and if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. And right now, it's making
Say that.
making a
Yes.
lot of sense.
Do you feel when I was in Rwanda, because I went to I'm an educator like you.
Yeah.
I went to Rwanda right after Clark. I had a whole house in my name, and I regret this to this day. I wish that I kept it,
Hmm.
because since I've left that house that I sold when I left, the house has become a church.
Okay.
The other houses around it, like left, they
Hmm.
deteriorated or whatever, the families moved. That church has thus then expanded that building into, like, it looks damn near like the Georgia Dome, like in the middle of a village. It's
Wow.
freaking huge. And I always have aspirations of starting my own school. So
Yes.
I was like, damn, I should have kept that, and that could have been like
Yeah.
the startup of my school, like as big as that house was. Um, so I definitely I definitely
Hmm.
encourage others, if they ever get the opportunity, to look more into um, international properties. So do you also offer that kind of information inside of your classes?
No, not international. No.
Okay.
The only thing, unless I come across someone who has experience in that and has done it, like I only teach anyone what I know and what I experience. Because I know it worked for me and I did it multiple times. So like this is my system. This is what works and this is exactly how you do that. I don't, if I haven't bought in Africa, I'm not telling anybody how to buy, in Africa. So
Right.
like again, unless I had you on a class or something like, yeah, can you tell them your experience in Rwanda?
Mhm.
Why did you do this? Why did you think it was a smart decision? What's the currency exchange? Were you the rich American there? So all of those things just give people enough knowledge. And that's the other thing, right? When it comes down to this, you also have to be careful because some people will give you information, but they won't give you all of it. They'll give you A, B, but they're not giving you C, D, E. Like they're not giving you the rest of it. They want you to come back and continue to spend your money. Again, it's not about me. Yes, you are going to spend money. However, the next time you come back, it's not going to be because you have to. It's because you want to.
Mm, mm.
I'm
That's a hustler's motto
$90,000.
right there.
Listen,
A hustler's
I'm 90.
motto.
Right. Like I'm $90,000 in student loan debt. None of which I learned in college grad program or my graduate program. I've learned about real estate. None of this. I didn't learn any of this through that.
I love it. What would you say our last question? What would you say our community? Because when I look at other demographics in America, right? Jewish communities they get real estate. Korean communities they get real estate. I even see Latin communities because I grew up in a predominantly Puerto Rican neighborhood. And outside of my Puerto Rican neighborhood, you got restaurants, you got banks, you got they used to be a bank that there's not a bank anymore, but there's other establishments around that are Boricua. So they're even getting better in their group economics practices. What do you think in particular it has been that has made it so difficult for us to recreate that Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma feel again?
Yep. I think one, of course, it starts with education. And when I say it starts with education, I'm not talking about degrees. It starts with knowing where your people come from, what your people had, and how to obtain that again. Because we can do it. Think about it. We're the poorest people in the United States, but we spend the most money. How? So when you literally get your priorities and boom, let me figure out, I don't know, does this bag or this shirt or this chain, can I pass this down to my kids? If I die and I don't have life insurance, what is that doing to my family? If I die insurance, but my life insurance don't cover all of the debt that I accumulated, what does that do to my family? Because when you die, your debt don't die. So once we become, and I'm not saying that we're not educated, but all of us are not on the same level, which is also okay. But we literally need the fundamentals and the foundation, because at the end of the day, and this is just reality, everybody can't go, but we do need everybody, right? Like, think about it. The reason, and this might go into a different conversation, the reason that we are dying at an alarming rate when it comes down to COVID is because we are the essential workers. We are working those jobs that's considered essential.
Yeah.
We need the cashier. We need the person in the driveway. You know, they need us. And that's the other thing that we don't understand as a whole, right? Yes, the mass majority of us do understand, but the other part, do we act on that understanding? I can sit here and talk to you all day long and say, yes, I do this, I do that, we should do this, we should do that, but it means nothing. So if you have the opportunity to educate, others, so people that look like you, the younger generation, or even people that's older than you, right? You, at any point when you're able to change someone's way of thinking, you are changing their life.
Absolutely.
For me, it doesn't come down to money. I didn't come from that. And that's the other thing when I'm talking to entrepreneurs who are like, oh my God, starting a business is hard, man. I'm this, I'm that. I'm tired. I can't enjoy my life, whatever. Yeah, but guess what? You are setting the foundation so that your children's children don't have to do what you're doing right now. You're doing it for them. But once you get done, you have something that you can pass down, and you're passing down a formula as well.
Right.
So for me in my business, I know how much time I spend creating a flyer. I know how much time I spend even thinking of a caption to put on social media. That's our biggest market. For free. Market yourself. Your reputation is everything. I get on Instagram, I post a picture like, oh my God, this is where I grew up at. Somebody sent me a DM like, oh my God, you bought that house? I was like, oh my goodness. Like, I hashtag Kearns for president, Kearns for mayor. I get all these text messages. Oh my God, are you running for office? Like, when you do things, people actually believe in you. And little do they know, put battery in my back like, oh damn. maybe I'm supposed to be state representative right now. Like, you know, so those are the type of things that we need to do. And we have to support one another. We have to support one another. So many times I hear, well, if I went into Walmart, or not Walmart, if I go to Target, or if I go to this business, they wouldn't do X, Y, and Z. But when I shop with a Black business, I got to do this and I got to wait for that. I don't like this and I don't like that. And why do we do that?
Mm-hmm. That reminds me,
Why?
on Tuesday, July 7th is Blackout Tuesday. People will call it, every day honestly should be blackout, but on this
Absolutely.
particular day where the Black community is trying to get one another to only shop Black for that day.
Mm-hmm.
Only shop Black for that day. So definitely spend this time educating yourself on what's in your neighborhood, what surrounds you.
Yeah.
So you know where to spend your dollar for at least this one day. We're trying to
Mm-hmm.
circulate at least 100,000 just to show how powerful our group economics practices could be.
Absolutely.
Now, because you got so much ambition, right? Like even thinking about when we were talking from the beginning of this, saving up $10,000 to even get into all of this.
Yep.
Saving up $10,000 ain't easy for some people, right? Like even people who make like enough to get that amount because of
Mm-hmm.
everybody's trying to go to Essence, everybody's saving up for takeout and this and the third.
Right.
What did you have to change about your life to gain that kind of discipline, that type of ambition to make
Yeah.
all this possible?
So because I grew up poor, I literally lived my life the same way. So when I got to college, I already knew like I needed money for me to eat. I needed money for me to do, a lot of things. So I'm like, all right, let me save. When I got my first paycheck, when I graduated college and, got my first real job teaching through Teach for America, I saved $600 per paycheck. So that was $1,300 per month. I paid my rent. My rent was monthly, of course. All of my bills were monthly. I didn't graduate college and get a car note. I had the same card that I purchased with my refund check in my freshman year of college, because I knew that I had to go from Philly. How am I going to get from Georgia back to Philly and from Philly back to Georgia? So I bought a car that was like $2,000, actually $3,500.
Oh, you was driving. You wasn't flying.
Yeah, no, I was not. I was not. So I had to,
Right.
how am I going to get from Philly to, Georgia? Because me going to college, that was my decision. That's on me. So
Right.
whether I, sink or swim, that's it. So literally it starts off with your mindset, your priorities, and your goals. Like, what are you trying to obtain at the end of the day? So I had that car for almost 6 years. And even when I had got rid of it, I could have kept it. But when I had got rid of that car, you know how much money I saved literally from not spending, from not having people pay rent on a car note. So all right, I was making $40,000 when I graduated, and start teaching, right? So of that 40,000, I saved 1,300 a month. The 1,300 was just savings that I never touched. Like, I'm not touching this for anything. So 2015. Now, that same year, 2016, at the end of my school year, I think I got a $10,000 raise. Then I got an $8,000 raise. So that's the other thing, right? When I started making more money, I started saving more money. So I was still living the same lifestyle as if I never received a raise in the first place. Because you can do that. People think, oh, I got a raise, so I got a little bit more money to spend. No, don't think like that. You were literally making it work with your $900 paycheck. You can make it work with your $1,600 paycheck too, and live the same lifestyle that you lived. So I'm not into fashion, right? I like what's cute for me, but I'm also cheap because I can't. Them clothes is not an investment unless I was selling T-shirts. Sell T-shirts.
Right.
I don't mind getting a $5 shirt or $10, $25 shirt at max, but I'm spending hundreds of dollars on that, So it just depends. And that's the other thing. We got to stop caring about what we look like to the wrong people. You're not on a job interview every day walking out that door. You're not. So why are you trying to impress the people outside with what you got on and they're not putting money in your pocket?
Right. Right.
Anybody see me in Philadelphia, they'll probably be like, what do that girl got on? I would have on some Adidas sweatpants or Adidas shorts or regular t-shirt, for real. Some sandals, but it's nothing. Half the time I'm here, I'm probably not even dressed.
Right.
So good about that. I don't need to, who do I need to impress out here?
Mm-hmm.
I sit at the table and I sign deeds. That's it. And even when I walk in there, I don't have to walk in there suited and booted. They know who I am. This is my business.
And one, like you said before, like the social media shows us like you use social media to show that even with all this ambition and all this discipline, it doesn't look like you're showing that you're not missing out on life.
Right.
Through all, like, you've shown that you can do both. You can travel, go here, live this life, be comfortable, and as well chasing the bag. Like it's possible to do it all.
Absolutely.
I love it.
I love
it. Now, before we go, one last time, if people want more information from Cocoa, RCO Property Group, where can they go to get this?
Go to my Instagram at RCO Property Group or my personal Instagram at COCOA517. And literally the website, the link is there to my link tree. Click on that. I have interviews and stuff. This interview will be on there as well. But if you're focusing on real estate, the very first link will say real estate services. Click on that. All of the access is there. My email address is at rcoproppertygroup@gmail.com. So feel free to shoot me an email, anything. And I do respond to everybody.
I love it. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
I got to rush over to my classroom now. I completely forgot to take the track of time. We got summer school.
Yeah, we start the 7th. We start the 7th.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, it's gonna be absolutely nuts with this whole COVID accommodations. Do you feel like COVID has made it has changed the housing market in any kind of way, or
hell yeah,
in a good way, bad way?
In a good way. People are, and this is the thing, it depends on who you ask. If you are an investor, it's a good way. If you are a consumer, like, oh my God, I don't own, or, I rent, or you are in a property and you own it, but you haven't done, you haven't saved up for a rainy day or what have you. People are, the reason that the market is so good is because people are losing their properties.
Because values are dropping, or? Yeah,
so that's the thing. Values, and so it depends on where you are. You can say values are dropping, but because everybody's not in a recession, but the banks aren't getting paid. People aren't paying mortgages. People aren't paying on their loans or whatever the case may be, right? So the bank is really trying to reel in people to buy houses because the interest rates are super duper low, and the bank. So it's a good market right now. But for me, I'm on an auction. It's a good market. I feel like it's a good market for me either way. I'm not going to the bank. When I go to the bank, I'm asking them for lines of credit so I can go ahead and fix those properties up. And now I'm getting those those interest rates is at a lower rate versus the 6% or the 24% interest rate. Now I'm at a 0.02% or something like that. So this is, I'm telling you, millionaires, billionaires, and trillionaires are made during recessions. So it's time for the little people who was on the bottom to become the big people on the top. And those big people on the top, they might have their hand in 50 different things and wasn't expecting this. Now they're coming down. So it's your time to rise up.
Rise up. Coco, you are an inspiration. We are rooting for you over here at Polemic Peoples.
Yes.
Thank you so much for I hope we can have I'm definitely going to take the course, and I hope we can have a follow-up conversation once I've gotten into the whole property game and